Hello everyone and welcome to pCloudy's webinar on why is digital testing important for apps built on MXDPs. My name is Dinakar and I'll be the host for today. And before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. Your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar through the chat option at the bottom of the screen. We will answer your questions as part of the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. This webinar is being recorded and we will send the link of the recording to you share with your colleagues later. Let me introduce the speaker for today, Nilesh Thadale. Nilesh is the Vice President Pre-Sales at pCloudy. He carries a rich experience of 18 years in varied domains such as product development, testing, and pre-sales. He has worked primarily in the mobile application and mobile device testing domain with companies such as Saskin, Motorola, Nokia, and Accenture. Without further ado, let me hand it over to our speaker, Nilesh Thadale.
Thanks, Dinkar. Very good afternoon to all. As Dinkar mentioned, we'll be looking at the webinar on why is digital testing important for apps which is built on a multi-experience development platform. Yeah, uh, we certainly want to have the webinar interactive one wherein I should be able to interact with you guys, but because of the ground rules which Dinkar has set, we cannot. But to make it more interactive, I will request you all to jot down your questions on the panel which Dinakar mentioned, and we'll take those questions towards the end, and I'll try to answer all the questions which you guys are asking or will have. All right, so let's move on to the agenda of today's webinar. Let's see what we have today on uh, in the store. So the agenda for today's webinar is we'll be seeing what exactly we mean by multi-experience apps. What are the advantages we get if we use multi-experience development platform to create the multi-experience applications. We'll see certainly the challenges which we face for testing of the apps which is built on the multi-experience development platforms. We will see the capabilities typically required for any testing if you are testing the multi-experience applications. We'll also see how pCloudy can be used or what pCloudy offers in this particular context, followed by Q&A. Right. So without wasting time, we will move on to the next slide to see what exactly we mean by multi-experience apps. Uh, in this digital era which we are in, physical devices bring us to different flavors of digital experiences through different mechanisms like voice, audio, video, bots, augmented or virtual realities, and so on. Yeah, it is spreading horizontally and in a much faster way. These are some of the things which we have mentioned, which you are seeing it on the screen. But apart from that, there are a lot of new things which are coming in the market, which will come in the market, and so on. So in the race of creating a positive brand image for and the perception, sorry, the enterprises are looking for ways to strengthen their digital experiences, and that's how the goal should be. Now that can only be done by streamlining their user experiences across multiple platforms, right? And multiple experience applications are making it very easy to make their presence known across various platforms to ensure the omni-channel communication and the engagement. Right? So these are some of the things which we will get out of multi-experience development if we have to uh, start creating the applications in that way, so that uh, it can spread across different sections which we have seen here. Right now, what we mean by multi-experience, right? Let's quickly we will quickly see what Gartner has to say about this thing. So Gartner says, as per the Gartner, the multi-experience is about leveraging various modalities, digital touchpoints, applications, and devices to design and develop a seamless experience for the customers. This is what Gartner is talking about, multi-experience applications. Now, the idea here is to interact with the customers at as many touchpoints as possible to offer a consistent customer experience across web, mobile apps, and other modalities, whichever is available in the market and whichever is upcoming in the market. Now, the key idea we draw from this definition is the uh, using of various modalities and touch points to develop a seamless and consistent experience to our customers. Yeah. Um, Now that we have got a fair idea of what multi-experience applications are, let's look at the advantages of building these multi-experience applications using multi-experience development platform, right? Now the whole point here, what we are trying to see, why in the first place we need this, why uh, why can't we go it in a traditional way? But if we have to give the same consistent experience across different modalities, we will have to make sure that we have that unique experience, we have that same user experience across all the different modalities, though the way users are interacting with the application may differ. Maybe somebody is using touch, maybe somebody is using gestures, maybe somebody is using voice, but at the end of the day, the application should remain same. The application should give the same experience irrespective of which way the user is interacting with the application. So that's the whole idea here. So let's move on to the next slide. Now, enterprises are shifting their focus from mobile focused app development to multi experience app development, just to make sure that they are future proof, right? Now, consumers are more interested in this stage today in interacting with the applications across various touch points, right? Me as a consumer or you as a consumer, you don't want any boundaries. Today I'm using a phone, tomorrow I might immediately start using the iPad. Maybe I will start using the same applications through desktops or laptops or some other mechanisms, maybe wearables, maybe the AR or VR. So as a user, you do not want to have boundaries around you, right? And as an organization, as an enterprise, if we have to make sure that the users get that particular experience, we will have to create this. We will have to provide the applications which will touch upon different touch points. But how does one build such apps which seamlessly integrate into various digital touch points? Right? The answer to this is definitely multi-experience development platforms, which is basically multi-experience application. Now, of course, to create multi experience application, you will have to use the multi-experience development platforms. But the MXDP allows the app developers to build an overall functionality of the application, and they can easily scale up the application on the other touch points seamlessly. That's the whole uh, gist of using MXDP. Now, this is just one of the main advantage which I have spoken, that you can create one functionality or one overall functionality, build it properly, and then it can scale up to different touch points seamlessly. But there are few more advantages which we are going to see it here. Now let's look at the some of the advantages. Okay, the first advantage which we are talking here is about easy to scale the applications across different touch points. As the platform easily integrate with design to fit into other devices, we can easily scale it up. Developers need not spend too much of time developing devices specific app, as the MXDP does it for them. So they don't have to really uh, keep doing that. They can focus on the core logic and creating the best experience in a single application. Uh, the reusable templates and code decreases the time to go to market, of course. And as a multi-experience app, which provides consumers with omni-channel interaction, the digital transformation at the organizations becomes a byproduct. So you don't have to have a goal to have digitalization or do the digital transformation. If you follow this, the digital transformation comes as a byproduct automatically. Using MXDP, it becomes a cost-effective solution at the end of the day when we are designing the multi-experience applications, as most core backend service are reusable there, right? So if you when we create this, the whole in the first slide which you would have seen, the lower stack, which was actually the backend and the API calls and other stuff, that becomes your reusable components. So all in all, your whole process is very clear, lean, and you can actually scale it up to whichever touch points which you want. So if you see, all in all, in this particular slide, if you ask me the key takeaway is the organizations can use this MXDP platform to create a single application, just a single application, which they can then responsively deploy on a range of devices depending on their need, depending upon the market which their users are using the touch points. Now that we understand some of the benefits of using multi-experience development platform, let's also look at some of the challenges that comes when we are testing these applications. Right now, creating an application is one part. Before we release the application to the market, the most important thing after creating an application is testing, right? And that's the most challenging thing when we have whole lot of variations in the market. It's not only different touch points, but even in a single touch point, there are multiple variations, right? And that's where this thing comes up, right? So we are going to see a quick challenges which typically we face or see in the testing this kind of applications. Now, testing in general, if you see, brings up various challenges time to time. Now, here are a few of the challenges that one could come across when we are talking about multi-experience applications as such, right? The first and foremost is, of course, to test your multi-experience apps, you need to have a facility where you can test various interactions of on multiple devices, right? As I said, like even if you are targeting only touch uh, modulator, right? You can't restrict yourself by testing that application only on one device. You have to test it on multiple devices, multiple platform, multiple screen resolutions, and so on. I mean, you cannot just test it on Android. You have to make sure that you test it on iOS. You have to make sure that you test on the latest devices with latest OS versions, latest hardware configurations, and so on. Right. So you should have a facility where you can get this things available for you. And at the same time, there are certain different types of devices, like phones and tablets. So tablets, I will still consider it as a part of the phone, but then there are different browsers, different wearables, etc. So that all things, audio capabilities, all these things has to be tested. We need to have a system in place to check if the conversational UI is responding as expected for the applications like chatbots or the voice apps. Right? This is very, very important when we have applications which is having around this kind of areas, right? Depending on different tools for different types of testings could be a hassle, and bringing them together in a collaborative way is a major challenge which we see in the industry at this moment. Right? So these are some of the key challenges, I must say, apart from the other challenges which we usually see in general testing, like adaptation to the test automation tools, and then cross-platform testing technologies. Now, this is very, very important, and I must say a very uh, high priority testing challenge, right, these days. Uh, we also have the integration barriers. We also have challenges for the API driven testing, and of course the agile or DevOps maturity. I'm seeing a lot of organizations are saying they are working in agile or they have the DevOps practice, but it is still not completely mature. And to make it mature, right, you will have to put in a lot of efforts. You'll have to set up your right DevOps the practices, CI/CD pipelines, and so on. So these are some of the key challenges which we see in this kind of application testing. Okay, let's move on to the next part where we will see now with all these challenges at hand, which we have seen in the last slide, uh, how we can overcome them. Okay, so by, let's say we have taken a sample of 5 testing capabilities to ensure that ease of digital testing multi-experience applications. As is, there are multiple testing capabilities which is needed. So we have taken a few of them, which is really important. So cross browser. Now we will need to test the multi-experience applications on cross-platform testing labs to ensure coverage of various touch points. As I mentioned in last slide, that you have to make sure that you test your applications on variety of devices. Even if you are testing it on Android, doesn't mean that your testing is done. If you are tested your application on, let's say, 6.5-inch screen, you have to make sure that you test it on 5, you have to test it on 4.x, and so on. At the same time, different hardware specifications, different OEMs, different platforms altogether. So that's the cross-platform testing at a scale. Yeah, and if you want to be first in the market, in the race, you have to make sure that your application reaches to the maximum users. You have to do it at a scale. You can't just do it in a sequence, then you will not be able to come in the race, and you'll not, your time to market will increase. Enabling the continuous testing for faster feedback loop and delivery, that is the important thing, not only here but in general in these era when we have very less time to market. So enabling left shift is very important. And typically when we talk about MXDP, because the multi-experience application is going to get deployed on different touch points, it is pretty important. Rapid automation techniques to automate testing at various levels of testing and then execute automation at scale. This is the key for any project where you have you want to reduce the time to market, you want to bring the quality up, and you want your product to be tested all the time, shippable all the time. This is very important. Various modalities can be testing using visual AIs, such as reading OCRs or maybe image recognitions to minimize the human intervention. So these kind of testings has to be done. Advanced testing capabilities, which typically the multi-experience apps includes maybe the voice, the chatbots, the gestures, AR as an important part of the applications. Now, testing can only be successful if it can test audio, gestures, voice, all the same at the same time. You can't just say that I have just tested gesture, but I'm not able to test audio, or I have not able to get the voice recognition. Then that is not the complete testing. So to have the complete testing, you have to make sure that the whole story is complete. You get the access to test pretty much everything to the same place. So these are some of the capabilities which we have taken here as a part of the sample, I must say. And we are going to see how we are going to address this. What are all things that are available? Of course, there are so many things available in the market, but one of the best thing I must say is uh, from pCloud. So how can actually pCloud help you in this? What we actually offer? What is pCloud? I'm sure there are a lot of participants who are existing customers of pCloud, so they know what about pCloud, what we do, what we are, what we provide. But there are a few more participants which are joining this webinar first time from pCloudy. They are not aware about pCloudy. So for the benefit of all, just wanted to give a very brief introduction about pCloudy. And pCloudy is basically a continuous testing cloud that provides users with 5,000 plus browser device combinations for testing their mobile and web apps seamlessly. And when we say 5,000 plus browser device combinations, it's a combination of different devices, plethora of devices. You get devices from different platforms, right from Android to iOS. You have got versions starting from 4.4 for Android till 11.0, for iOS 9.3 onwards till 14, the latest OS combinations. You get different browsers on the device, you get different browsers on the desktop machines, and so on. So it's a huge, massive cloud where you get the capability to get all these devices acquired or accessed, and then you can perform test on your applications. So this is a very simple and short introduction I wanted to give for pCloudy. Now, we provide a complete cloud infrastructure. Right now, let's get into a little deep to understand what exactly we provide there. Right, so we provide you a complete cloud infrastructure to perform the testing on real browsers, as I mentioned. Right, and then we also provide you the devices, the real physical devices. So you are not testing, or you are not using the emulators or simulators. You are going to use the real physical devices which your end customers are going to use your application on, and the real browsers from the on the real machines with variety of uh, browser and the desktop OS kind of variations. And we hope to move into a space very soon for the testing on the other devices like smart speakers, some new wearable technologies in the very near future. Currently, we do have the support even for the smartwatches, but yeah, we are also expanding in the area where the more variables will be supported. So this will be a one-stop shop for most of the engineers who are looking for the testing platform. Uh, Continuous testing is the key. As I mentioned a little while ago in the last slide, the continuous testing is the key to test and release quality apps and updates much faster in the market. If we want to be first in the race, we will have to make sure that we deliver fast. And to deliver fast with the quality, continuous testing is the key. Right now, various techniques such as rapid automation, DevOps, test analytics, and automation, it plays a very important vital role in enabling the continuous testing. Now, these are also the key pillars that our platform is built on to enable the continuous testing of your mobile and web apps. It's not only the mobile web apps, it's the mobile native, hybrid, progressive, and web apps. In addition to that, the desktop web apps. So everything pretty much we have support for. Multi-experience testing would entitle not just the coverage of varied devices, but also test the varied styles of interaction that one would perform on these different set of devices. Right? It's not only the devices, as I mentioned, that yes, there are uh, plethora of devices available in the market. We have to use that. We have to test on a finite set of but variety of devices. But at the same time, it's not only the single thing that you are just giving certain gestures or just giving a touch. So you have multiple things which you can do it. You can use touch, you can use gesture, you can use voice, and so on. Right, so we have kept these interactions in mind and provided the ability to test your application on real devices through these different parts, as I mentioned, like touch, gestures, and voice commands. Now uh, uh, this would enable you to get the thorough testing of your applications without any limitations, and on top of that, you don't have to physically maintain these devices in your premises or in your desk. You can remotely access this and start using it. Okay. Now, what I will do is, instead of coming here at this moment, what we will do, we will actually see a quick uh, glimpse of how pCloudy looks like. Okay, and then I will talk about certain things which uh, I just pause for, right? So browser cloud, what exactly the browser cloud is, what exactly the device cloud is, what kind of capabilities we have, what advantages, or what is the key takeaway for you from this thing is what we're going to see in a while. But before I talk about that, if you can just have a quick look here, it will be more meaningful. You'll be able to correlate that better. So I'll just take you through this quick glimpse of pCloudy. This is for those who are new to pCloudy. Okay, so this is how the portal looks like. This is how the platform looks like when the registered user logs in here. And there are multiple things here. There's a dashboard. There are a lot of things which we provide, and it brings a lot of things on the table. But quickly, just wanted to show you about the devices. Let's see what exactly we have about the devices. So when we go to the devices, this is a place where you're going to see the a whole list of devices. We have 500 plus devices with 5,000 plus device browser combinations, as I mentioned a while ago. So you can keep scrolling down from this big list to look for a device of your choice, right? Now, if I just go and connect to a device, I'll just quickly show you how you can connect the device, how you can just make some interactions with the device, maybe touch or audio or something like that. So if I just go here, look for an audio device, and let's say this is audio device, let's go here, and it's so simple. I just need to click on this button and that's it. I'll be acquiring the device quickly, and then I'll be able to perform the test on this device. This is how the device intermediate page you will see, which will take you to the device interaction page. This is how the device interaction page will look like. Now, if I just click now, see this is a device. I just clicked on the home screen. The device screen is shown. I'm just now interacting with the device. So you can use your mouse to give the touch gestures. I'm just dragging the screen up. You can see this. I'm just clicking on the home screen. It is going like this. Yeah. So this way I can actually go ahead and do it. So if I just go and let's say I go to the Chrome, for example, and okay, I'm just interacting with this particular browser. I'm going inside. This is the first time I'm opening that particular browser. That's where that initial setup was required. Now I'm just coming here, and maybe I'll just type in uh, Google homepage. Okay. Now, if you see here, there is an audio. So if you want to use the audio, whether it is audio in or out, whether you want to give the audio commands to the device or your application, or you want to hear back the audio playback, then you can actually go to this uh, command here, and then you can see there is something called audio in, audio out. So let me just say audio in. I'm just allowing this. Now this device is available in the data center. I'm remotely connecting to that particular device, and see what happens after once you get the success message. If I click on this and prompt, for example, Microsoft, you can see now it has taken Microsoft, it has taken my audio command, and it started showing me the corresponding results to that. If I simply go to maybe audio out, for example, and I say uh, videos, let's go to videos here quickly, and maybe let's play this video. So this way, now I'm actually playing this video in the data center on this device, and that audio is given back to my system, so I can sitting remotely see what's exactly happening on the device. Okay, so I'll just pause this. Now, if you want to do certain other gestures, you want to rotate the screen, yes, you just need to click this and everything will turn into landscape mode if the application supports here. If I just play this, perhaps, okay, why don't you input the data and we'll take a look at data? Yeah. Okay, so you can actually do all these things. You can capture screenshots. You can do a whole lot of other things here. I'll definitely not go through each and everything. You can simulate the biometrics. You can inject the files for QR code, something like this. These are all things you can do it. And we also provide a lot of artifacts which will help definitely to get more value adds to your existing functional testing. And this way you can actually release the device back. So these are some of the things which you get. I mean, very few things which I have shown it here in the interest of time, just to tell you what are all things you can do it on such kind of things. Uh, the second part here which we have to see is about browsers. Okay, so you can see here now the things which you have seen in the devices tab are all mobile devices, Android, iOS, and different hardware, software configurations, and so on. And here on the browsers, you're going to see a variety of uh, machines with different browsers. Like we have Windows 10, we have Windows 8.1, and then we have Microsoft Edge 88 on Windows 10. We have Microsoft Edge 88 on 8.1. We also have Firefox IE, and so on. We also have the High Sierra, then Catalina, Big Sur, uh, Mojave. So we have both Mac as well as Windows. So you can here also you can just go and connect to any of the browser on which you want to test your application. Let's say I want to open Edge, for example, on 8.1. So you just need to click on this, and you will be connecting to that particular instance from here. And it is pretty much as if I'm working on my local machine. Okay, so you're going to get that kind of experience when you are connecting to these devices, even to the browsers. And there are certain things, I mean, here instead of pCloudy, let's say I just want to open amazon.com. So you see I'm typing in from my local laptop on this remote device on from remotely on from my browser, and it started coming in here, right? I just uh, can test this particular thing on this device. At the same time, at the click away, I can change the screen resolutions. Now you don't have to change the screen resolution of your machine as such, your workstation as such. You can simply change it from here, and it will get changed on the fly uh, on the browser at pCloud itself. You can capture the screenshot. You can perform certain tests for your uh, staging servers or pre-production setups and so on. So these are some of the things which we have in store, which will definitely help you in your multi-experience testing part. So what we do here is we'll come back to the slides, and we will see how, sorry, just a moment. I'll just take you guys to the same slide where we left it. Okay, so let's come to the browser cloud. Now, since we have seen what we have in the store, right? I'll quickly walk you through what advantages you are going to get through browser cloud. Of course, we have not uh, gone through each and every feature there, but let me summarize it here. What exactly you are going to get it from the browser cloud? So you are going to get the unlimited manual and automation testing. So you can do manual and automation testing on these browsers, unlimited. You get the real Mac machines and Windows devices of the machines on which these browsers are running. You get the natural interactions. There are no emulations or simulations. You are doing naturally as you are doing it on your mobile device, on your workstation. The web application performance statistics is also available from pCloud. You can get that. You can make use of that. You can get the access to the detailed artifacts. As I mentioned, we provide a whole lot of artifacts, including logs, screenshots, videos, and so on. So you're going to get a whole lot of things from this particular platform. Uh, as I mentioned towards the end, that you can also perform the testing on your staging servers remotely. right? So if you are having a pre-production setup or the staging environment where you do not have access from the external world, you have access only from your machine because you are sitting in that network or you are sitting in that lab, you can still perform the test on these devices remotely, even if it is not public. So that is a big advantage which you are going to get it. Very easy integration with Selenium. In case you are using Selenium for the automation, it's very simple, just 6 to 7 lines of code. The capabilities typically you have to add and you are pretty much done. That's what you are going to get it out of the browser cloud. Now coming to the device cloud, now what exactly we provide you at the device cloud, the mobile devices cloud, which you have seen there. Uh, so the first advantage of the device cloud is, again, you're going to get the unlimited manual and automation testing. You get over 2000 plus real devices, right? We have multiple data centers across these devices are spread across. You are going to get all these devices for your testing. Uh, you get automation tests for natural interactions. So if you have the automation test cases ready with the natural interactions, you can perform those tests on these devices. And the most important thing which we are bringing in here is you can also run your automation on multiple devices parallelly. Now, time to market, that is what we were talking about a while ago. That's something which you are going to achieve by doing this rapid automation, of course, but at the same time running the automation on multiple devices. This is definitely going to save a whole lot of time on your in your testing practices, right? You're going to get different devices. You are going to get the different OS, different manufacturers, different versions. Like we will be having Android and iOS. We will be having different manufacturers. There are whole lot of manufacturers available in India. So all these manufacturers we have support, right from Micromax to Nokia to Samsung to LG and Sony and whatnot. So we have all these things. We have Apple and the iOS. For the iOS, we have different versions, as I have said, that right from 4.3 to 11.0 for Android and 9.3 to 14.0 or 14.x for iOS devices. And we also have different screen resolutions, so supporting from smartphones to tablets and tablets. Pretty much everything is covered here. Uh, we have the access to the detailed report. You are going to get the detailed reports from pCloudy for whatever testing you are doing, whatever you are performing the test on, be it the device logs, crash logs, screenshots, the session videos, the performance metrics, and so on. We will also provide you the access to the local SIM enabled devices in case you're testing or your application needs testing on the local network uh, and local operator network. You can pretty much use these devices with the local SIM enabled on those devices, or you can use the network simulation feature to simulate different network conditions on a specific device and see whether your application behaves properly on those uh, you know uh, uh, devices, right? So it happens sometimes that when you actually uh, change the network, or when there is a sudden change in the network conditions, sometimes the applications does not respond. Sometimes it doesn't show the right message to the user, or it doesn't retransmit the request back to the server. So all these things can be tested sitting remotely in a lab and accessing the devices remotely. And at last, of course, you are going to get the integration very easy with APM as well. As I mentioned, for the Selenium, we are going to get the key capability based integration for APM with just 6 to 7 lines of code, and you are done with the integration with your existing testing frameworks to make it run on pCloud. So these are some of the advantages which you are going to get with the device cloud. Of course, I have not mentioned each and everything here, but these are some of the key things which you are going to get at pCloud. So with this, I would like to conclude and I would like to move on to the next slide, which is again a very important slide, which is about Q&A. So I think I'll move on to the question and answers uh, time now. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Okay, so I think uh, I'll just wait for a couple of minutes to see if there are any questions coming on the way. Okay, there are certain questions coming in. Let me just. Okay, there is a question from Aditya. Can we share the logs to our system? I didn't get your question completely, Aditya. Do you mean that the logs which your application is generating, do you want that logs back to the system of the person who is using remotely that particular device, or the system means you're referring to the server? Okay, so the logs, yeah. So the question which Aditya was asking, can we share the logs to our system? And he's saying to the system from where he's accessing those devices. So yes, you can pretty much get those logs. But typically, when you start using these devices for testing, be it browsers or the mobile devices, the logs by default starts getting recorded in the background for all the logs which the device generates. And while while performing test, if you want to monitor it next to the device, that can also be done. You can pretty much enable that and start looking into the logs, start monitoring while doing testing. If you do not want to get distracted, you do not start the logs, but the logs will still get recorded in the background, and those logs you can download on your local machine. And those logs will also be will get stored on the server, so that you can refer to that logs anytime later. When I say server, it's pCloud server. I hope I have answered your question, Aditya. Okay, there is a question from Gautam. Can't we have an option for locking the device? Locking, do you refer to the device screen lock, or locking as in you're looking for booking the device for a specific user for yourself? Okay, let me answer both the things. So Gautam, if you're referring to the device screen lock, this feature is available. You can lock the device screen and you can open the device screen lock. Now, in order to get those devices accessible to all the different users, by default, we have switched off all the device screen lock on all the Android devices and iOS devices. But when you need this particular feature, you can enable from the device settings and use it for your testing. To answer the second part, if you're referring to the device locking for a specific user, it means pre-booking the devices. That feature we do not have on the public cloud. However, this can be done. This is available on the private and public on-premise cloud. Okay, so you are referring to uh, just a minute. You're referring to the screen lock. Okay. Uh, Gautam, I'll not be able to showcase that right now from here. We are in the Q&A session now, but we can connect with you after this webinar and one-on-one, and me or my team can showcase you that. Yeah, the next follow-up question from Gautam again is what is uh, the wildnet option? Okay, so uh, as I said, like if you have a requirement to test your staging environment or pre-production setup, like you must be having a pre-production setup or a staging server wherein you do certain tests whenever the application is under development, and once everything passes, then you actually push that build to the production, right? That is what we are referring to as pre-production or staging environment. Now, if uh, this is the testing you want to do on that particular server, you will have to make sure that your application is installed on the device and that device is in the same network, same Wi-Fi network where the pre-production setup or staging server is available. If you move out of that lab and or change the network, your application which is under test will not be able to reach to that particular server, because generally staging servers and pre-production setups are in a restricted environment. Now, if you want to perform test on those those servers on from these devices, it cannot be done because these devices are in our data center and connected to our own network. Now, to bridge that gap, we actually we have a feature which will help you to route all the requests from the mobile device to your local machine, and in turn your local machine should be able to connect to this particular server, and this is what we are referring to as wildnet. Now, wildnet is a name which we have given for this particular feature. Hope I have answered your question, Gautam. And as I said, like we will contact you and we will show you the locking features and other stuff. That time we will show you this live demonstration for the wildnet option as well, if you're really interested in that. Okay, I have a question from Bala. Um he's asking, can we get few names which for the multi-experience platforms which are available in the market? But of course, you can get it a huge list of uh, platforms of the yeah, multi-experience platforms on the Google. But just to give a quick couple of names which you can relate here is like IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, APN. There's a company called APN, Temenos, uh, SAP, Kony, Pega, and Salesforce. These are some of the very prominent names which you will see in the market for the multi-experience development platform. Okay, so there is a question from Murli. Will it be possible to use all these devices which you have shown in the CI/CD platform at pCloudy? Uh, yes, of course, pretty much. That's what the whole point I was talking about. These are all real physical devices. So you can use these devices in your CI/CD pipeline. Now it depends whether you are opting for a public cloud or private cloud or on-premise cloud. But yes, all these devices you can use it in your CI/CD pipeline or a CI/CD platform which you are using. Um, you just need to also make sure, I mean, when you're using a pipeline and typically if you're looking from the multi-experience applications point of view, you will have to see whether you want to create a single pipeline which will have access only to mobiles or tablets or desktop browsers. If you have these three different things, then you might have to create three different um, jobs within that pipeline. But yes, you can access all these devices through your CI/CD pipeline. I hope I have answered your question, Murli. Okay, let's see, quick time check. Okay, so I'll take, there are a few more questions. I'm going to answer to all these questions the one-on-one to all the users. I'll just take one last question from here, which is from Matthew. Does pCloudy provides the DevOps infra like repository, build machines, etc., or we need to use our own infrastructure? Okay. Um, to answer your question, Matthew, pCloudy do not provide you additional machines or the build machines or the repositories as such within the platform. I mean, we do not provide you this as an inbuilt capability which you can use it. However, you can use any standard repositories, be it GitHub, Bitbucket, or uh, whichever you are using it, be it free or paid. You can use this in collaboration with pCloudy. At the same time, any build build systems. If you are opting even for Azure, you can have Azure's build machines or AWS or anything else, or you might be having your local build machine, so you can use those build machines. Now typically pCloudy provides you the infrastructure from the uh, test machines point of view. If you if you see it in the normal software testing analogy, then pCloudy provides you the right infrastructure from the testing perspective. The test machines, be it mobile devices, be it browsers or variables, whatever you're referring to, right? So in a way, yeah, you can use pCloudy in your CI/CD pipeline, but uh, the repositories and build machines has to be external, right? I hope I have answered your question, Matthew. With this, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you very much for all attending for this webinar, and have a great day ahead. Bye bye.